From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MVW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. Hope all of you have had a lovely start to the week. We will talk about something today. I don't know, for the next hour. There's not a lot going on in Ole Miss athletics. We'll actually probably open with that in a second. But as we tell you every single morning, the podcast is brought to you by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Daiquiris, ribs, lunch specials. A lot of good things happening around the community. The second day of that YGB football camp going on in Jackson, presented by Craddock Oil. Hope many of you had your children, your players take part in that, as well as many other things throughout the year that they support to try to help children and different people around the state of Mississippi. But anyway, you know about all the ribs, you know about all the different things you can get, including the good gas prices, the clean convenience stores, and more. Save some money at the pump with Speed Pass Plus out, the mobile rewards program, and more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. If you have been thinking about a Ford F-150, if you want to get into a Ford F-150, if it's been something you've been contemplating, this is the week for you. Get in touch with the people at Clark Ford. Ask for Tom. Ask for Alan. They will not be beat on a Ford F-150 deal, period. Just won't happen. Won't get beat on it if they've got it in stock. So give them a call. Find out what they have in stock. They need to move some cars. The advantage is on you, to you. They'll admit it. They won't get beat. Ford F-150s, I drive one. Love it. You'll love it too. 662-257-1900. Ask for Tom or Alan.
We'll start with this, a little bit of a shout-out. You know, back in the day, for the listeners that have been with us for a really long time, back when Jeffrey was with us at the very beginning, maybe before that, you know, one of our little running bits was about how bad Mac South Metrocast was back in the day. Jeffrey at times could only get that local program channel or whatever it was, where they show bull riding like 22 and a half hours a day or something like that.
Yeah.
We were convinced it was basically just a drug front for Walter White. Excellent service yesterday from Mac South. So I use Mac South for my internet. They just do my internet. As everybody knows, we cut the cord. I use Hulu TV for my television. Don't have a landline, but TV, Hulu, and then internet, use Mac South. Well, it was fine yesterday morning, and then yesterday afternoon, if you're in Oxford, depending on what side of town you live on, you experienced this. It didn't do anything on Neal's side of town, or really almost even kind of to the square, but I'd gone by Blue Delta to pick something up, and when I was going home, about halfway home, came just a monsoon yesterday. I mean, an hour of hard, pelting rain where, hold on. I can show Neal this, because I was on the phone with somebody, and I was like, is it raining where you are? And they were like, no, it's not at all. This was in my neighborhood yesterday afternoon.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't see. If I was on the highway, I would have had to pulled over yesterday.
I don't think we got a drop.
No, you didn't. That's what I'm saying. So like Carly Ann has swimming lessons over here in the subdivision next to you, and she was fine at 4:20. There were no problems. It was coming a flood at the house. So anyway, I get home and I open my computer as I typically do, hit a button, no internet. And I go look at the router, and there was no power or anything. Lightning has hit it. It's completely dead. At first I was like, oh, maybe it's the plug-in. I go try to plug it in somewhere else, all this stuff. No, nothing. So I call Mac South, and my blood pressure is already rising as I'm having to make the call. I know what I think's coming. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a problem. You know, last time when my computer was messed up, they tried to use a manual from 10 years ago to fix it. It was a lot of stuff. So get a guy on the phone immediately. Tell him what happened. He tells me he's aware of weather in the area. We're talking back and forth, almost kind of having a little conversation.
Yeah.
And we had one little discrepancy on who the authorized user was between me and my wife and some of that stuff, but got that worked out. It's all right. He goes, okay. He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, we'll have somebody out there in the next couple hours. And I thought, whoa. 3 o'clock today. We're getting this thing fixed today. He goes, oh, yeah, no problem. He goes, I don't know exactly what time because we got to put the order in, but be there today. I said, okay. So I'm thinking, yeah, right. Tomorrow morning I'm going to have to call this cat back and do the whole rigmarole, and we'll see where it's at. 6:10, knock at the door. Guy comes up. He goes, hey, what exactly was your problem? I tell him. He goes, all right. He goes, look, I was already out, but I want to stop by to make sure I was going to get the exact right thing. He goes, I'm going to run back to the office. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Okay, good enough. 25 minutes, knocks on my door, comes in, has it fixed in 5 minutes, and gives me a couple tips on how to make my internet faster at the same time.
Really?
3.5 hours, that thing was done, replaced, and on my way, completely free, no service call fees, nothing.
Let me tell you, there is a
$0.
There is a 0.00% chance that I'm gonna get that from AT&T.
You don't think you're gonna get that kind of service?
No chance.
I mean, I was floored. Like I was thanking the guy when he left. I'm like, I appreciate it. Like if I could tip you, I would right now.
Ours has gotten where it's so slow that.
Well, I mean, you and I experienced this. We're having a hard time sending files because of AT&T right now.
If I'm on the Peloton,
yeah,
and anyone streams anything.
So there is no Netflix in the house if we're doing the Peloton.
No, I mean, I'll get on it. I mean, I try to do my rides when there's no one here because I don't want to mess up everybody else's stuff. But Caroline will be in there streaming the Kardashians. Carson's streaming some NBA thing, and it's just like I can't do my ride.
Buffer.
Which is miserable on Peloton.
Okay, since Peloton is technically live, when it's buffering, does it just skip ahead to wherever they are, or does it catch back up?
It makes it miserable.
Okay.
And sometimes it'll knock you out and you
really?
Restart your ride, but you get back where you were, but you don't really keep up with your analytics.
Screws it all up.
Yeah. You don't really know precisely how well you did.
Yeah, well.
And it's not really about, like, people are like, oh, well, who cares about the leaderboard? It's not about the leaderboard. It's when it's over, you want to see, am I getting more efficient? Am I getting stronger? Am I getting to where I can handle resistance for longer periods of time? So you want the analytics to see, am I doing the right kinds of rides? Okay. Right now, Jay Tate would be making fun of me, but.
No, that's. I can make fun of Peloton, but that's not where I would make fun of it. I mean, that's for
it's like when you go running.
Like say, you still want to know at the end what's my minute per mile and all that stuff. And you want your.
If your goal,
I'll get really pissed if that thing goes off at some point during the run and I'm done. I'm like, well.
Yeah, if your goal is to say I'm going to go out and run 5 miles and I want to do it at an 8-minute and 35-second clip. Yeah, you can do the math, but you still want to be able to look down at your watch and see what's my pace.
Yeah. And when you're done, it's like because you're compared to the day before and the week before.
Do I
and
need
the month
to speed
before.
up?
Yeah.
And then you want to be able to look and say, okay, well, this time last week I ran this 5 miles. I ran the exact same 5 miles, and I just shaved 22 seconds off my time or whatnot.
Good.
Yeah. So when you're doing Peloton, you want to be able to say, okay, what was my total output in this ride? Like every Tuesday, I do. Allie loves 45-minute Tabata ride. It's pretty much the same ride every week, and so I can measure my output. Am I getting stronger? Did I slack? Was I too distracted? Whatever.
So did that female really get fired for calling somebody fat?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, and I will miss her.
Jennifer Jacobs.
Yeah.
She made fun of a username for those who haven't listened to GPits or just seen it I just saw it on the internet, but made fun of a username and apparently has lost her gig over it.
Yeah. I wish they would reconsider.
It was really, really stupid. I also don't necessarily like the one-strike mentality either.
Yeah. And I know you can't criticize a customer.
It's a freaking like the whole point is that you're supposed to be losing weight too. It's not, you know what I mean? Like,
and all she was saying was...
it's a huge problem for Peloton because, hey, if we're going to pick out and make fun of fat people, that's who's getting Peloton. They were trying to lose weight. People were trying to get in better shape.
Yeah, and Jennifer's missed already a lot. I mean,
is she your favorite? In the triumvirate, if you will?
I mean, I have multiple favorites.
Okay. It's kind of like your kids. Hard to really pick the one, right?
But there were days that...
She was the top of the menu.
Jennifer's attire made it where I really didn't want the ride to end because they have different camera angles.
Stop.
Yeah, it was great. It was good rides, and she did a lot of '80s rides, and I like '80s music.
So they're just pumping in 80 songs over the rides.
Yeah. She would do an 80s pop ride. She'd do an 80s rock ride. I liked them. They were good rides. I'd do them like on.
So you still do them?
Yeah, I mean, I can go and get them on demand.
No, but because somebody else doing 80s rides too.
Yeah, there are people that do it.
Yeah.
They've got a little bit of everything.
Okay. Just curious.
I typically take the same 2 or 3 people's classes. It's 2 girls and then 1 guy that I take his class a lot. I did it yesterday. It was really hard.
Okay.
I'm pushing 500 rides now.
500?
Yep.
How many days is that? How long have you had it?
I mean, I've had it for a year. And
have you really had it a year?
Yeah, I've had it more than a year because I just got my 52-week badge the other day.
Oh, that's good. I'm
glad
to get that badge. That does a lot for you.
The little badges things. That's when I realized I'd had it that long.
I didn't realize it had been that long. I would have guessed 6 to 9 months for some reason.
No, I've had it more than a year. I've done 493 rides.
Do you get something when you hit 500?
I mean, I'm sure
you get a badge.
I'm sure I'll get a little cyber badge, and I'll get a
cyber badge. Does it go on your profile? Can other people see it?
I think so.
Can other people see, like they go to your profile, they see how much rides you do and stuff. Can they see your stats as well?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you got your own little village.
Like I've done 1 yoga workout.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and I did it intoxicated. That was fun.
Why?
I was bored.
Hang on, a yoga workout on the Peloton?
It's on the app.
Oh.
I pulled it up on my phone and did it up in the bonus room thing.
That's difficult to do anyway. That would be annoying. It
was funny, kind of drunk.
Okay. I don't want to know, to be honest.
I've done 21 strength workouts, 12 stretching workouts, 1 cardio, and 1 yoga.
You should stretch more, probably.
Probably should.
You should stretch more.
I do stretch before I do it. I just don't always stretch on the app. I just kind of do my own stretching.
Okay.
There you go. That's my Peloton update for the day. But yeah, when you pull my thing up, it tells you like which rides I did, and you see how many things you burned and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's great. I love it. But I miss her.
Okay. Might research that in a second. I was just kind of curious if there had been any updates on her status at this point. But
luckily, Hannah Marie Corbin has not been fired. She's still around.
She came to Tim.
I don't think they're related.
Are they not?
I don't think so. She's never mentioned Vanderbilt baseball.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay. She'd be on full scholarship if she was. Let's see. We kind of were looking through again. No really prep necessarily, but look at their pre-show. There is nothing going on right now. This might be the deadest week of the sports year because of the baseball break too.
Mm-hmm.
There is free agency has pretty much finished for the NBA. There's nothing. It is completely dead. It is a time when I went this morning and pulled up. Usually I do a pretty good job of kind of covering topics that we would potentially talk about because we don't always stay in sports. We don't always stay in certain segments. I pulled up Clay Travis's website this morning for the Daily Outkick thing, and here is your headlines for today on this thing. Pete Alonso winning the home run derby, which was fun last night. It's fun. I like long home runs. Everybody likes the long ball. It's all good.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah, it's all good. No.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was
phenomenal.
It kind of emerged for those who watched.
As a guy.
Yeah. The old school baseball people are like, he didn't earn a spot. Listen. Stop. Baseball has got to do something to market these young players.
Vlad Jr. and Ronald Acuna and those guys.
And Alonso and those guys. But Vlad Jr. has a chance to be like Carson's real into Vlad Jr. I use Carson as sort of my litmus test.
Mm-hmm.
And last night he said, if I could start a team with any 2 players and they couldn't be Cubs, I'd want Vlad Jr. and Acuna. And I thought, there you go. That's who resonates with kids.
Pete Alonso was a good college player, but nothing like this.
He has light tower power.
Just, yeah.
I watched him. The Cubs and Mets played a 4-game series not too long ago, and I watched pretty much the whole thing. And by the end of it, when Pete Alonso came up, my attitude was, and this kid was a rookie. I think, walk him. Just put him on. Don't throw to him.
Pete Alonso.
Don't throw to him for God's sake. Throw to the next dude. He's had a hell of a year.
He's got 30 home runs or something?
Yeah. There's some really good young players. Fernando Tatis Jr. is terrific, man. I mean, just great, and nobody knows they exist. It's the craziest thing. I bet NBA Summer League games are getting better ratings. Summer League better ratings than some of the MLB games right now.
Well, I mean, you saw Vanderbilt, Michigan in the College World Series was the highest-rated ESPN baseball game this year.
It speaks volumes.
It had more watchers than any Major League game on ESPN this year to this point.
And I will usually get some pushback on this.
And that includes ESPN doing opening day all day long when it's, Daytona the first day.
And Yankees, Red Sox, and Cubs, Cardinals, and Dodgers, Giants, and stuff. And people will push back. Why are you ripping? I'm not. I love baseball. I watch a lot of Major League Baseball. I on the 4th, I had my TV on outside, and I watched, God, I don't know, 4 Major League Baseball games. Not like locked into them, but they were on. I flipped around, and when one game ended, I moved to another game. And
I'm not criticizing. I'm fascinated by it. Just from a business model standpoint, it fascinates me.
Well, and everyone says that they're making money hand over fist, and I know they are on these TV deals. I do wonder what happens as more cord cutting happens. And I'll tell you what I see when I watch games is a lot of empty seats.
No, the in-stadium situation is not good at all right now. It's bad, except for a couple markets, obviously.
Yeah, and there's some really good teams. Like the Dodgers are a phenomenal team. I mean, they might be a historically good team.
No, look, from an ability level and just the product on the field, it should be at an all-time high almost. From an athleticism standpoint, now the games can bog down because of launch angles and home runs and strikeouts and whatnot. I get that. But overall, from a talent level, I mean, the game is phenomenal right now. Defensively, teams have never been better. Yeah. It's great.
There are exciting players. Guys that, like, I heard Mike Trout yesterday talked about how he watches the Cubs because he likes to watch Baez. Pretty good focus group, Mike Trout. Hey, Mike, who do you like to watch? Oh, it says something. But, I mean, they've got great players in huge markets. The Yankees are good. The Dodgers are good. The Red Sox are good. The Cubs are at least in contention.
The Astros are good.
The Astros are good. The Cardinals are in contention. I'm not sure how good they are, but they're in contention. And ratings are down on national games. No one watches. And I know it's middle of the season and it's the slog. I don't know what the ratings tonight will be. My guess is not particularly good.
I won't watch it.
Chase, I'm not sure I'm going to watch it. And when I was a kid, that's
the question. Will kids watch it? That is the question. Adults have never really been into the All-Star game anyway. The All-Star game's about the kids.
My guess is not really. I can remember being a kid, and
me too.
I did not miss the introductions.
It was the introductions. It was waiting on your guys in the introductions.
Well, just to see all the different uniforms and all that stuff.
You thought the uniforms were cool. Everybody's wearing their own stuff or whatever, and
everybody's wearing the whites, and then the other team's wearing the grays or the blues or whatever. I loved it. Well, still kind of like it.
Yeah.
But now they introduce it. I'm like, who's he?
Who's he play for?
Never heard of him. Like Matt Chapman for the A's yesterday. I had to think for a minute. Did I know he was there? Because I don't think I've watched the A's all year. I'm like, I didn't know he existed. Don't know that's good.
You make a good point, though, because a lot of the big markets are good. New York, Boston. I mean, even from a South standpoint, Atlanta. I mean, everybody's good.
Everybody's good. The teams that you would want, if you're Major League Baseball, the teams that you would want to be good are good.
Yeah. Houston, Atlanta, New York, Boston, L.A.
Yeah.
You want those teams good.
Cubs, Cardinals. You get all that stuff. You should have the country covered.
And you've got the nice little engine that could stories. The Twins are a great baseball team.
Sure.
There's something for everybody right now if you care about the game.
I just don't know that. I don't know that they have. I know that, like in Chicago, for example, everybody's hung on every pitch the Cubs throw.
Yeah.
And I'm
it's
sure
regional. Yeah.
I'm sure in Minneapolis they're excited about the Twins, but it just doesn't seem to have any national appeal.
And we come back to this, does it matter? And I don't know. Maybe it doesn't.
Or does it matter in 10 years? Does it matter? I don't know. Beats the hell out of me.
But you can be, if it's the right mix, you can be very successful regionally as just regionally. You can.
Yeah.
It's doable.
It's doable.
Now you need more people with your games. But
That's the thing. And they're talking about expansion, and they're unhappy with Tampa, obviously, and they're talking about Montreal and Mexico City and
Vegas.
I still think you could put a team in Nashville and do extremely well.
Just teams going to block that or try.
Well, Cincinnati will try to block it. I think Atlanta would try to block it. I think that would be foolish because you'd get some rivalries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Atlanta really has a rival.
Well, no, because their rivals are up in the Northeast.
It's the Phillies.
It's no regional
Mets,
stuff.
Pennant race stuff.
Yeah. Not like, hey, this is that team.
Yeah, no matter what, this is going to be emotional.
I mean, you ask Braves fans my age, hey, who's your rival? Probably say the Mets, but how is that? I mean, really? I mean, what's the draw there?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's none.
Don't
have a natural rivalry. Put a team in Nashville, and you could probably formulate one a little bit.
I mean, they need to be in the NL East.
Yeah, but you could restructure divisions and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't see some huge overhaul of divisions.
No,
I mean, we haven't had one since the wild card.
What they could do is they could do the 8 4-team divisions and expand the playoffs out.
Oh, okay.
Have the NL South.
Yeah, NL South.
Yeah, where you
Nashville, Atlanta, Miami, and somebody else.
Yeah, Nashville, Atlanta, Miami, and maybe Cincinnati.
Yeah, who cares? Pick somebody.
Yeah.
Texas, Houston, whatever.
I mean, I'm in the Reds viewing market, so by God, they're in the South.
You can watch the Reds whenever you want to watch the Reds.
I can watch the Reds every damn day. Reds, Cardinals, and Braves. I get the Braves and I get the Cardinals, but the Cincinnati thing is always a real stretch.
It's close to my favorite story when you had Dish or DirecTV or whatever, and you're in Mobile and the Marlins were in your area. And you go, do you know how far Miami is?
Yeah. I can remember calling and going, do you know how long it would take me to drive to Miami? Like, can I list to you? I did one day. I said, can I list to you the markets I could drive to before I'd get to Miami?
There are a lot.
It's so stupid.
Oh, gosh. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting. It understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float-down option. Plus, right now, rates are at the lowest they've been in a couple years, so maybe it's time to refinance. Maybe it's time to make that purchase. Let Jason help you out with that. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Blue Delta Jeans is in Dallas, Fort Worth, in the Metroplex today through tomorrow. So if you're out there in that part of the country, and many of you are based on our analytics, and you want to get fitted into a pair of Blue Deltas so that you'll have them maybe ready for football season, info at bluedeltajeans.com, info at bluedeltajeans.com, or you can send them a direct message on Twitter or Instagram. Their username, as you might expect, is Blue Delta Jeans. On Friday through Sunday of this week, Blue Delta Jeans will be in Aspen, Colorado at the Hotel Jerome. Monday and Tuesday, they'll be back in Texas, this time in Houston. And then next week, they'll be in the New York area. Thursday the 18th through Tuesday the 23rd, they'll be in New York City. And they'll also be in the Hamptons Friday through Sunday the 19th through the 21st. I thought about vacationing in the Hamptons that weekend, but I couldn't quite make that work. But you know what? If you wanted to vacation in the Hamptons and you wanted some ideas, the person to get in touch with would be John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Whether you're going to the Hamptons, New York City, Florida, the Caribbean, whatever it may be, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. What you do is you give him a call, you give him some parameters, you give him a budget, and he'll give you options that, no, you will not come up with on your own, and you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's also a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. You can check out the model home at 215 William Street. All of these homes have wonderful layouts, impeccable finishes. You can inspect them, select from them at the model. So get in touch with Harry. Go to SavannahSquareOxford.com or call or text Harry Alexander at 662-801-5621.
So my point a minute ago was there's just absolutely nothing going on, frankly. There's some baseball juicing stuff as far as the actual baseballs being juiced.
It's
There's
absolutely being
stuff.
juiced.
Well, yeah, look, last night's home run derby was not the same baseballs they've hit in years past or a decade ago in the home run derby. Come on. Now, that's fine, whatever. I don't care necessarily, but there's two reasons why context has to come into play where it goes, hey, that home run derby and those guys, yeah, look, they were killing the baseball. No doubt it was great. It was fun. The baseballs are juiced, and two, that's a whole different element when we're talking about time instead of outs. That's a whole different home run derby. The format now cannot be compared to the previous format from the standpoint of home runs hit.
No.
It's just impossible. So it's fun. I like this format better. They've done a good job. They've done the correct job. But let's stop going, hey, Josh Hamilton, well, okay, not the same
Totally
thing.
different thing.
Yeah.
Totally
Give
different
him these
thing.
baseballs and that whatever with as much steroids that were going through that son of a gun at the time. I mean, come on. Let's bring McGuire and them out in the day and hand them this format. I mean, somebody might die.
Can you imagine McGuire and Sosa and those guys
these
with these baseballs?
Yeah.
Phew, as juiced as those guys were.
The way the baseballs are juiced, though, I always had I told you, other than crowd safety being the problem, I wish they'd give them aluminum bats. You couldn't do that with these balls. Like, somebody would be hurt.
You would, you literally.
Yeah.
There were balls traveling.
Balls that would be in the outfield too fast for people to get out of the way.
Balls traveling. Like all those kids out in right field the other day, I was like, last night I was like, get them out of there. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah. But point being,
when Joe Madden and Justin Verlander and Trevor Bauer and everybody around baseball says the balls are juiced.
The balls are juiced. Yeah, it is.
They're not bitching. They're not complaining. They're not
just
whining.
telling you.
I mean, Justin Verlander's putting up phenomenal numbers. He's just telling you the ball's juiced because the ball's juiced.
Yeah. There's political topics. There's some NBA stuff still going around. Russell Westbrook. The point being, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, a McDonald's Happy Meal story made its way into this list. There's nothing. It's July 9th, and it can just be July 9th.
It's just July the 9th.
I do have a question, though. I saw the story last week, I guess, and typically I roll my eyes at them because it's almost always aggregation. But I mean, even though this was just a dumb summer list, it was actually original content. Saturday Down South had a thing about the five of the SEC programs that were better today than they were a decade ago, essentially.
Okay.
And here's my question: as I spin it local a little bit, is the answer Ole Miss is a football program right now? It's overall health. Could you make the argument that it's since late 2012, prior to everything that set in motion the NCAA stuff? I mean, I get that won a Sugar Bowl in 15. I get that obviously a 13 had the recruiting class and all those guys. Or would you put it to just right before Ole Miss made a lot of the dumb decisions that led to the penalties that impacted them that much? Ole Miss is as healthy right now as when?
2008, 2009.
You think it's that far back?
Yeah. Look,
The problem with that is I don't know what the health is right now. I need to see the fall first because
I need to see the Arkansas game.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like 12 better because they were competitive and getting better, and you saw a trajectory that was going up. But you're not necessarily at haymaker status either, though.
In 12, people were excited because it was new. It was fresh.
Yeah.
Matt never got the chance to be fresh.
Yeah, the honeymoon.
Yeah, Matt's got to earn a honeymoon, which is hard to do. So I don't know. I mean, I'd love to know what season ticket sales are. What are they really? No spin. And I don't criticize Ole Miss for spinning. I'd spin too. It's your job to spin. But what is it really? What are ticket sales? What are bodies and seats? What does the Southeastern Louisiana game look like from a crowd standpoint, from an energy standpoint? And I know that depends on what happens in these first couple of games. What does the Cal game look like when Cal's presumably going to bring about 500 people? What's that game look like? What does Vanderbilt look like? This is a challenging year from a attendance standpoint.
So you would theoretically argue that over the last 15 years or whatever, maybe the week that Ole Miss was in the best shape as a program was as soon as Les Miles made the dumb clock error against Ole Miss in 2009 in that LSU game. The week before they play State and allow Dan Mullen to get them and whatever.
They were in really
that LSU day.
They were in really good shape as a program that day. Now, obviously, that
nobody necessarily saw what was coming in recruiting and the downspin that was about to happen.
And I was going to say that, like the day of the Alabama game in 2014, that's as healthy as the program has ever been. Except what you didn't know that day was that the program had been diagnosed with cancer.
Or hadn't been diagnosed.
Hadn't been diagnosed yet, but had cancer.
Yeah, there was a tumor.
A bad cancer.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to –
It's very complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to look at that and go, well, that was a great day. It was, but like they won the Sugar Bowl. And so you could say, well, January the 1st, 2016, man, the program was really healthy, except it wasn't. 4 weeks later, they got hammered with a notice of allegations. Then they got another one. I mean, you guys know the history of it. So that whole deal was – it's kind of like going back to tie into the steroid thing. During the midst of the Sosa-McGuire stuff, everybody loved it. It was exciting. It was fun. Now you look back on it and you're like, yeah, but they were juiced. They cheated. It was bad. So people will look back on the Ole Miss thing and go, well, I mean, those were good times, but not everybody, because there are some people, we see it on the board all the time. Don't make fun of Hugh Freeze. Don't criticize Hugh Freeze. He gave me some of the best days of my life as an Ole Miss fan. I get it. He also delivered some of the worst. It's both.
Oh, it's probably similar in a way to the Memphis back in, I mean, not now, but like at the time, the thoughts about John Calipari.
Yeah,
hey, he did this for me, and it's whatever, but hey, got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's one of the reasons I almost kind of dread the Ole Miss portion of media days, because you know how this is. I'm going to ask people, hey, man, will you come on my podcast? And some people turn around and go, yeah, can you do my radio show? And when they ask questions about Ole Miss, you realize just how the program is viewed outside of here where people have context. They think it's a total disaster. And so it's like, well, it's not really. If you go back and you look at it, and it's just a lot of Ole Miss is in a complicated space right now. Rebuilds are complicated.
I was about to say, really good programs, like ones that win 10 games every year, are really bad programs. They're easy to be diagnosed from a flyover standpoint. Yeah, sure, they're great, they're terrible, whatever. Ole Miss cannot be diagnosed with a flyover at all.
No,
much more complicated than that for them right now.
But people try to do that. It's like I was listening to a Thunder podcast yesterday with Brett Dawson and Royce Young and guys that are really cover the Thunder on a daily basis. And obviously there's a lot of tumultuous things happening inside that organization right now. But it's not as easy to – you can't just look at it and go, well, it's a total disaster. Paul George asked for a trade. He got out. He hated Russell Westbrook. That's what the national media people are saying. And then those guys are saying it's not really that way. Here's the deal. It's complex. It's complicated. This day was always coming, blah, blah, blah. They always were prepared. You know what I mean? And so for Ole Miss this year, it's this – I get this question, what does Matt Luke have to do to survive? And part of me wants to kind of be a smartass and go, I don't have a pulse. Keep breathing. And then they are like, oh, you think they're going to be good? It's like, well, no, I don't necessarily think they're going to be good, but I don't. I think it's more complicated than that. I think the whole thing is. And then, so there's no scenario where he loses his job. Well, there's always a scenario where someone loses their job, but I think it would have to go catastrophically bad for him to lose his job. And so that you get no one allows you. And then here's the one I love is because I'll push back on national media people with. I did it with Staples and Schroeder the other day. It's 2 interviews ago, and it was that whole the NCAA thing. I always push back and go, the first NCAA notice was fine. The second was a complete joke. The second was a witch hunt.
We've said that the entire time. The first one was a very solid document that had good stuff in it and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
No questioning it. The second was a joke. And
it wouldn't have led to a 2-year bowl ban, and you get your whatever, and you move on with your day.
And so that's where it's real complicated. Why are Ole Miss people mad? Well, that's the smart ones. That's why they're mad. You know, you should be mad at the NCAA. You should be mad at Hugh Freeze. You should be mad at Barney Farrar. It's a lot of the people that never get blamed. It's just the complicated thing, and it always comes up at media days when the people are trying to do the overview thing. And, hey, in 15 minutes, tell me the story of where this program is. I can't. I can't gloss over. It's too complicated for that. And then I'll get the, can you win big at Ole Miss? Yeah, you can win big at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze proved it. Because in hindsight, didn't recruit all that well. Didn't have the best coaching staff in the world.
And a win from the playoff.
And was a win from a playoff at peak Nick Saban.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You win big at Mississippi State, too. They were number 1 in the country in late November. They were. I saw it with my own eyes. So, yeah, you can do it, sure. And then they go, oh, it's you're being a homer. I'm not being a homer. I'm just being honest. It's right there. Now, can you be horrible at Ole Miss? Yes. I've watched that, too.
Every SEC school other than maybe Kentucky and Vanderbilt can do it.
I think so.
And maybe Missouri.
Yeah, I don't know that Missouri can do it. I don't know that Arkansas can.
And now Missouri's won the East, and they've been very competitive and close to the playoff too. Their first couple years in the SEC. In the SEC.
Yeah, well, they were a win away from.
Yeah.
And an Arkansas fan right now would say, "Hey, I don't know if you remember, but Bobby Petrino.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Arkansas was ranked 2nd or 3rd in the country that year that Alabama and LSU were dynamos.
I think where the Ole Miss, I don't know how it's the funny shows, but thing about shows like this, we get there. What Alabama and maybe Auburn and LSU and Florida, those kinds of programs, Georgia, what they might be fireproof to is the disaster season. That might not be on their menu. Ole Miss is capable of having disaster seasons. Arkansas can have disaster seasons. State can have disaster seasons. Obviously, Vanderbilt and Kentucky can have disaster seasons. But Ole Miss and State, and I guess Arkansas, but I mean, I've seen Ole Miss do it a couple times. 3 times, really, since I've been on the beat. They're capable of being an elite team. At the end of 2008, Ole Miss was an elite team. At one point in 2009, Ole Miss was a fairly elite team. And in 14 and 15, Ole Miss was an elite program, no question. So that's 4 out of 11 years. That's not a terrible slugging percentage. On the flip side, in 11 and 12, Ole Miss was bad. Really bad. And I think you could make the argument that they were pretty bad last year. So 3 out of 12 years, they were pretty bad.
We talk about over-unders a lot lately. That's why I still kind of like the over with Ole Miss no matter what, because it's an SEC team, because you're non-conference, just because you're going to have some playmakers and somebody else is going to be bad too and just whatever. You've got to really kind of suck to not win 4 games. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to win 10. It's also really hard to win 3 or fewer.
Yeah, I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts. If the over-under is 4.5, now I'm always concerned
Because you got two automatically.
I'm always concerned about sucker bets.
Yeah.
And I always wonder if Vegas really believes strongly that, hey, they're going to lose a bunch of games.
Well, the Action Network, I've got this in front of me, they did projected college football win totals, and I'm assuming this is like computer program stuff because it's got a bunch of decimal points and whatnot. They have Ole Miss at 4.06 total wins and 1.61 conference wins for the year. The SEC West, they have Bama at 11.43 and 7.53, LSU at 8.74 and 5.08, Mississippi State at 9.06 and 5.27.
Wow.
A&M at 7.09 and 4.17, Auburn at 7.07 and 3.57. He's fired at that.
Gone.
Ole Miss 4.06, 1.61, and then Arkansas at 4.84, 1.11. Here's the problem with Ole Miss, though. And this is a problem when you're trying to predict them this year. They've got so many new pieces. They have so many different scenarios, intangibly, tangibly, all these things. Computer programs can't figure it out either way because you've got a quarterback who hasn't played. You've got all these draft picks going, but they've still got some pretty good wide receivers. Like it's complicated.
Yeah.
From a metric standpoint, Ole Miss is an impossibility. There's no way to put a computer program, good or bad, I don't know, on Ole Miss right now because – there's no data. You have no data on Matt Corral. You have no data on Rich Rodriguez, Mike McIntyre's potential as coordinators on this team. You have nothing to put into your computer to spit anything out at this point.
I can make a realistic, positive projection. I've done it. I can get them to 7 wins. 7 wins in the Belk Bowl.
Yeah.
And everybody going, man.
Have a chance to beat Dave Doran to get to 8.
Everybody going, man, I tell you what, this program's moving.
Yeah, of course.
I can paint that scenario. It's easy. Beat Memphis, beat Arkansas, beat Southeastern Louisiana, beat Cal, survive Alabama, beat Vanderbilt, get to 5-1, the midway point.
Beat New Mexico State and beat somebody else.
Beat New Mexico State, then win one. Upset somebody or go win in Starkville.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. 7 wins.
Yeah.
Everybody's giddy. Now I can't get you better than that without really spinning.
Yeah, now we're running into a wall, but
I can paint disaster, and I don't think it's unrealistic. Go to Memphis and lose. Come home, lose a close one to Arkansas. Beat Southeastern Louisiana, lose a close one to Cal. Alabama beats you up,
and you don't recover for Vanderbilt.
And now it's a disaster. Now it's a disaster. Now you're 2-10. No one's at your games. Recruits are jumping ship. There's no leadership. There's this just chaos. Yeah, I can. Is that realistic? Sure. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't. If you told me, if the football gods dropped in here right now and said, hey, what's up, Neil and Chase? Here's what's going to happen. Would I look at them and go, man, you guys have been drinking? No, I wouldn't. I'd say I can see that. There's a thread on the message board today about, maybe it was up yesterday, about where are they thin? It's like, dude, they're thin in some really critical spots.
The offensive line.
The quarterback position. He's never started a college game. And if he tweaks a knee, you're putting a kid out there who just a year ago was playing high school ball. Hey, go for it. Kincaid Dent at Alabama. Now, Kincaid might be a really good quarterback one day.
Say whichever one you pick. It doesn't matter.
Pick
They're
one.
all
Okay, Grant Tisdale, whoever. Well, he played Texas football. And he hadn't played in Tuscaloosa on national television, getting his kicked in. How does Matt handle that? We don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, then offensive line's thin. Tight end's thin. Octavius Cooley gets hurt. There's nobody behind him who's really played.
3 converted position guys.
Yeah. And he hasn't proven himself to be a consistent SEC player yet. He's done some things.
Yeah.
I think they're good at receiver. I think they're good at running back. I think they're okay up front on the defensive line. I still question linebacker. I see people giving them a pass at linebacker. Coming into this season, I would say they have 1.5 proven SEC linebackers. Now, do they have some other people who can play the position? I think so. But until you do it, and doing it in the Grove Bowl and doing it against Arkansas on September the 7th are 2 completely different animals. And then in the secondary, they're thinning some spots. Get a couple of injuries early.
Don't know how some guys come back from injury.
Yeah. And the schedule's weird. And so I don't know. People, so, it's not like when if you're covering Alabama right now and someone says, what's worst case? Well, worst case is they lose a couple of games. What's best case? Best case is they don't lose a game. Georgia, what's best case? Well, they take the next step. What's worst case? They lose a couple of games. They're not volatile. There's no volatility. With Ole Miss, it's
the ultimate volatility when you have 2 gimmies and then a bunch of coin flips.
Yeah.
Those coin flips could go great. Those coin flips could go terrible. I don't know.
And if you meet in the middle, you're okay. If you win more than you lose, everybody's going to say, wow, what a great job.
But if you don't pull an upset, if you don't pull an upset and you go 2-2 in your coin flips, it's still 4-8.
Right. And people say, what happens at 4-8? I think he gets more time.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question.
It's not about that, but we're kind of back on the dovetail of the over/under.
Right. But
that's why 4.5. That's why Vegas has it at 4.5. If you just want to know, hey, what is up with this? It's because they think Ole Miss is going to be prohibitive underdogs in 6 games, and then they have 4 coin flips and 2 gimmies. So
yeah.
Go in the middle, 2-2, boom, 4. All right, 4.5.
And those computers like Memphis.
I don't know why. I don't care. They do.
They just do. I don't know. It beats me.
They like State.
They like State. And I
don't see it.
I look at State and I don't see it. And then I look at that. I'll tell you this. Both staffs. That Ole Miss-Arkansas game.
Ooh.
Both staffs have that thing circled as, okay,
this is on the path.
If we're going to get to 6 and shut people up and get a little breathing room.
This one's got to be.
You know how you lose 5 pounds and you find out your collar fits right? If you're going to lose the 5 pounds, you got to win that game.
Yeah.
The loser of that game wakes up.
It's an extra belt loop.
Yeah, the loser of that game wakes up September the whatever that is, 8th. Who is a mountain to climb now?
Yeah. Tell you about G&M Pharmacy. They're in Oxford. 662-236-2222 is the phone number. We've been telling you again here in the last few weeks about the sildenafil they offer. It is much cheaper than the brand alternatives that you are aware of, and it also works much quicker as well. Right, gets you ready in as little as 15 minutes as needed. You can break it into halves, quarters, how much ever you need. You don't have to talk to somebody to get it either. You can go to TysonDrugs.com. You can go to GNMPharmacy.com. You just click product request, and you request a prescription right there online, and they will take care of you so they can be discreet if necessary. Again, the phone number for that is 662-236-2222.
Don't miss 1 minute of the action at the Vault this season as Ole Miss football arrives in September for the aforementioned Arkansas game. Reserve your season tickets with the new 2019 season ticket pricing for just $299. For more information, visit OleMissTix.com. And, of course, if you're coming to games, whether you're coming to 1 game or 7 games or something in between, you want to be tailgating in the Grove, in the Circle, on campus, whatever the case may be, you need to get in touch with 7 South Tailgating. They're owned and operated by husband-wife duo Kyle and Jordan Thornton. Both are Ole Miss alums, Oxford locals. Kyle's a former Ole Miss baseball player. Jordan, a former Ole Miss football staff member. What started as a way to pay for college has become the greatest tailgating service provider at Ole Miss. The team at 7 South are rebels through and through. They take pride in the Grove and the impact their service has on protecting, preserving, and enriching the Ole Miss game day tailgating tradition. So call them directly at 662-321-1682 or visit 7southtailgating.com. Podcast also brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves stepping in their pet's stuff, and tracking that stuff back into your house is a nightmare. Scoopers will go into your backyard, your apartment complex, or your condominium and pick up what no one really wants to pick up. For $10 a cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or a one-time service. No contracts are required, and you can cancel at any time. If you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you own a home, a condo, or an apartment complex in Oxford and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers, 662-506-2754, or simply send them an email, scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com, to get your cleanings scheduled today. Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, they're number 1 in your pet's number 2 business. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB offers a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. They'll set up any local business to deposit checks from their office and not have to worry with coming to the bank daily to deposit those checks. More than likely, any business owner at another bank is now paying a monthly fee for their account. They're most assuredly not making 1% on their money. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxford.bankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured.
Just in case there was some curiosity here, that Action Network, those statistics for the SEC East has Georgia 10.82 total, 7.06 in the conference. Florida 8.86 overall, 5.42 in the conference. And then that Missouri Tigers line that Neil likes a lot, that I like as well. They have Missouri 9.47 overall, 5.68 in the conference. South Carolina, such a fall off here in the East. South Carolina 5.22, 2.299. Tennessee 5.76, 2.34. Kentucky 5.45, 2.22. And then the Vanderbilt Commodores 4.86, 2.02. So Missouri kind of the favorite from an over/under standpoint in the East per the metrics as well. So there's that.
I like them.
What was that over/under? Was it 7?
Yeah.
7.5 maybe?
7.5, I think, and I love the over on that.
You're still good at 7.5?
Yeah. They're winning a bunch of games. I mean, they lose to Georgia and Florida, and they can lose one more, and they're still way over
say somebody else just because.
Yeah, they're still over that. Their non-league's not hard. They get Ole Miss at home.
They play Purdue. Is that right?
Yeah. I think
it's Purdue. Purdue's okay. Purdue's can be.
Yeah.
Brom stayed, right?
He stayed.
He stayed. I don't know. You know, we had Matthew Stevens on to talk about it, and he lost his gig a week later.
Yeah, we're the jinx. I tell you, my deal with Purdue is at my gym, for whatever reason, they have a TV that's locked on the SEC network, and that SEC network, I'm sure it's just on a rotation, but I happen to see it all the time. They keep showing the Music City Bowl where Auburn just destroys Purdue. Just destroys them.
Oh, that's right.
And I look up and I'm like, God, Purdue sucks. And so it completely taints the way I look at their season. Because every time I look up, like,
you're the guy who would have predicted Ole Miss in 15 to just suck because the Peach Bowl is just on a loop all offseason. It's like, God, TCU just beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, I look up, and every time I look up, Auburn's like an 80-yard touchdown pass. I'm like, man, y'all can't.
It was like 28-0 in 4 minutes or something.
And then Purdue scores, and then Auburn goes touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And you're like, damn. I mean, literally every time I look up, it's like a 80-yard post route for a touchdown. And you're like, you guys can't cover anyone.
Yeah, you get done, you go, hey, it's really good you're in the Big Ten. No one throws the football. It's kind of good over there.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn's receivers just running by them.
It apparently was a complete joke, but what does it say about the family situation that we all just believed the Shea Patterson tweet was real and came from his dad the other day?
Oh, I think it was.
I don't think so. I think it was completely made up. I think, right?
I don't know. I refuse to give them the benefit of any doubt.
But when I saw it, I went, yeah, about right.
Yeah.
Like, I said, Shea didn't do it, but somebody else in that family did. Sure.
He's not a championship quarterback.
Well, he didn't tweet that, though.
No, he didn't. I don't guess. Someone did. The thing that I loved with Shea last year was when they had the announcement that he was returning for his senior year. I was like, as opposed to what? What were quitting football? Okay, cool. He decided to give it another go. Well, he's not going to declare for the NFL. Well, neither am I. So we got that together. Not an NFL quarterback.
You gonna put out a press release later that says you're not going to try it for the Canadian Football League this year? Gonna bypass it.
I mean, he might go play CFL. He might have a future there a little bit.
He'd be good.
Run around, and spread it. But he's not playing in the NFL. It's like, do you watch the NFL? You got to be good to be an NFL quarterback. You got to be good to be a bad NFL quarterback. You got to be great to be a good NFL quarterback, and elite NFL quarterbacks are just unicorns.
So this is not really a golf thing. This is more of just kind of a dust statement as anything. John Daly, who is playing on the Champions Tour, the over 50 tour for PGA players, he has osteoarthritis in his right knee. Essentially, he's, as everybody knows, very overweight, has a hard time walking. And on the Champions Tour, he can use a golf cart. And he petitioned for the PGA earlier this year to allow him to use a cart for the PGA Championship at Bethpage Black. And he was allowed that because he said the osteoarthritis in his right knee makes it difficult to walk. He cited the American with Disabilities Act in request. He has requested the same thing of the RNA, the European Tour, the Royal and Ancient Club, Tuesday for the Open. And they said no. They said that they believe that walking is an integral part of the tournament. They're correct. If you can't walk, you can't play. Frankly, the PGA should never have allowed it. Now, look,
I agree.
He wasn't in contention. He wasn't going to win. So I think in a lot of ways they went, I just do it. Who cares? But you have to be able to walk.
Yeah.
Because it's not a, Casey Martin or something. If it was a true disability where you had to figure out some other way to allow a person to play, I might even contemplate it. But this is simply a guy who's gotten older and is not in good shape. There's no predetermined condition here.
He did this to himself.
Yeah.
This isn't a Casey Martin thing at all.
Yeah.
And look, it's the PGA going, he is not going to win.
Yeah. So just save us all the headache.
People like him.
But yeah, he's good for our draw.
He's funny. People like him.
He'll come out and people will watch him play. Frankly, they made money off John Daly in the tournament.
So let him ride the cart.
Yeah.
But what if he was in contention? What if the
golf gods this week gave him the ability? Yeah, sure.
And it's hot and all that walking and stuff. People can say what you want when you walk 18 holes in the heat. It's draining.
Yeah.
And so another guy goes, well, can I have a cart? It's kind of hot. I wouldn't mind saving some energy. It's day 4. I'm drained.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I took care of myself? Because I have a size 34 waist? Because I lift weights and I run and I'm in shape? But it's hot, man. I'm just asking, can I have a cart too? So I don't like it. I mean, I don't care enough to get worked up about it, but I don't like the rule. I think you should. If the rule is everybody walks the course, well, then everybody walks the course.
Yeah.
And if the rule is you can have a cart, well, then whoever wants a cart can have a cart.
And of the two, I'm not shocked that the PGA went, yeah, sure, and the RNA goes, no, absolutely not.
Right. Well, the PGA is doing the deal where, like I said, he can't win. We know he can't win. We don't really want the negative PR on this.
Yeah.
He's
going to bring fans out.
He's kind of our mascot
a
little bit. Probably don't want him to be the mascot, but he is. He's Santa Claus. Who's going to throw Santa Claus off the course?
He's going to sit in his golf cart. He's going to hit some shots for a couple days. He's going to drink some tea out of a McDonald's cup in the cup holder, and he's going to move on with his day.
Tell some funny stories. And everybody's going to get a kick out of it and move on.
Yeah.
But let him shoot 13 under par or something, and then woof.
Golfers are prima donnas. Somebody be like, hey, whoa.
It'd be valid.
Yeah. I agree.
Be valid. I mean, it's they'd have a legitimate point.
Yeah, you can't start down the road of setting precedent, frankly. Because what's next?
Or Phil Mickelson could say, hey, I'm getting older.
Yeah. I tweaked my knee. Hey, I just got a little sprain. If he's got a knee problem, I've got a knee problem.
Yeah. You want to hear
and all of a sudden, you got a problem because Phil not having to walk. Phil, I would have won the damn tournament.
Yeah. Hey, I'd like a cart.
Yeah.
My knees bother me.
Yeah. I can get a doctor to sign off.
Tiger Woods says, hey,
I've got plenty of knee problems.
I've got documented stuff here. I've got a back issue.
I have a spinal fusion, bud.
Yeah. I'd like a cart. Take some pressure off me having to walk the hills in the heat.
Yeah.
Save some juice. I think it's silly. I'm in the minority on the Casey Martin thing, as unfortunate as it was.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's the rule.
Yeah. it's the only sport too where you can even, you know what I mean? You can even think about altering it because, if somebody doesn't have the physical ability for whatever reason, I'm not being harsh, I'm just talking, they just can't play the sport.
Well, to run the Boston Marathon, you have to qualify at a certain time. Mm-hmm. And if you can't qualify at that time, you don't get to run. Is that unfair? No, I don't know. It's life.
Or raise a lot of money.
Or and they have exceptions and stuff. But, yeah, and it's not the best example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember at Big Sur, they said, hey, we're closing this course at 6 hours. So if you can't run it in 6 hours, we're going to pick you up from the back. There's no chance that we're going to let you stay on the course.
You trained for that son of a gun that long, and then you can't finish it. That would have had to be mentally devastating.
Sure.
Now, finish it in 6 hours. I get it.
But they told you. They told you repeatedly, we're going to have trail cars on the back here so that nobody gets run over on Highway 1. And at 6 hours, when it becomes obvious that you can't get it, we're going to pick you up.
So if you're not past these check marks at this point,
we're picking you up.
6 hours is a long time.
It's a long time. I mean, I never had to think about that. I mean, I was fine. But, I do remember thinking, if I ever see the trail car, I'm just getting in it.
Yeah, sure, bud. Pick me up.
Yeah. Because my watch did not work that day. Like, I didn't know what pace I was
really
running. Yeah, it didn't work. And
see, mentally, that would drive me insane.
It drove me nuts. It was, me, I'm so OCD. I mean, I was kept looking at it and fooling with it.
Oh, I don't know how that would run.
I probably lost 15 minutes fooling with my watch.
That would drive me. Oh God.
Because I remember getting to the halfway mark and going, okay, I'm going to fix it now because I can do the last 13 with the watch it wouldn't do. And
what was wrong with it?
The satellites and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you had no documentation whatsoever?
I didn't know
from the watch.
I didn't know. Yeah, I was reliant on the signs.
Oh, okay.
Like I knew, hey, I've run 15 miles because I had the little sign that said 15 miles. But I didn't know.
What sign sucks the most? It's got to be 18, right? Because you still got 8 left.
No. For me, the ones that on all 4 of mine, the signs that sucked were 7 miles, 8 miles.
Oh, because you've been running a while.
Because I'm running a while and I'm sweaty and I'm you feel it.
Yeah.
You run. And you're like, God. I remember the 6 miles sucked the first time. I'm like, I just ran a 10K.
And I got 20 to go.
I got 20 miles left. It was a psychological thing. No, once I got down to single digits.
Oh, then it's okay, we're just moving.
Yeah, I'm 18 miles ago. Think of how many times you've run 8 miles. And at 20 miles, I was like, okay, we're done. We got it. You've run 6-mile training runs so many times, you can do this.
Okay.
And then after 22, 23.
Now you're done, basically.
You feel like you're there.
Yeah. At that point, it's no matter what, I can finish this stupid thing. I mean, even if my leg cramps up at this point, we're going to finish this run, and we will complete this thing. I get that. That actually makes a pretty good bit of sense. Let's see. Podcast also brought to you by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape. You know by now that they offer premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but a ton more as well, as you know, including custom playgrounds, retaining walls, anything that you need. They were out yesterday, actually right before the rain just obliterated everything and made it pretty impossible. But nonetheless, they will take care of you, whatever you looking for. You can get a free quote with them, 662-607-7773. GoMastercuts.com is the website to see all the different offers they have for you.
The podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is based in Madison, Mississippi. They have clients in more than 20 states. What they do is they provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. Really what they do is they sit down with you. It's not the cookie-cutter thing where you just sort of, the big company, you're just another name. They sit down with you, whether you are a multimillionaire or whether you are someone that's on a pretty tight budget. And they talk to you about your retirement plans. They talk to you about what you want to do in retirement. They talk about what your goals are. They look at your expenses. And then they put forth a very comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that is built just for you. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fee. And the podcast is brought to you by the Westin Jackson. I'll have my mailbag out tomorrow, probably late tomorrow, but it'll be out tomorrow. It is sponsored by the Westin Jackson. It's a Marriott property. You can accrue or use your Marriott Rewards points. You can visit Soul Spa, and you can visit Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where you can sip on a creative craft cocktail or enjoy their curated wine list. So gather at Estelle tonight.
Appreciate all the people listening to the new podcast yesterday. It is still, again, for anybody that had trouble finding it, it's in this feed this week. It is in this feed. I know we talked about it yesterday, but I had some questions about that as well. So just go to the Oxford Exxon podcast. And if you also, on the podcast app on iTunes, if you search MPW Digital, you get everything. It literally will pull up all the different shows. You can pick and choose and do whatever. So that's the those are the best keywords to find it if you are if you're having trouble with that. Just a little heads up there. You mentioned it right before we started the show where you and I were just talking. This Russell Westbrook thing, is it something that is imminent, or are we talking more down the line as things sort of shake out? I saw they saved some money, they got rid of Grant, they've done some different things. But what's how soon is this even possible at this point?
Oh, I think it could happen quickly. He wants to be traded at this point. The statement that came out yesterday, you could tell it was nuanced from agents and stuff. I think he wants to be traded at this point. The Paul George thing took them by surprise, and yet they've done a great job accruing picks over the next 5 or 6 years. They have like 13 first-round picks. Mm-hmm. They're not going to take all those picks. They're going to be able to package those picks, stuff like that. So here's the problem. Everyone's talking about Miami, and Miami makes a ton of sense for both teams. But Miami has – I don't want to get in the weeds here because people be like, A, they don't care, and B, it's complicated. Because Miami did a sign and trade for Jimmy Butler, they're hard capped at basically $138 million. So if you take Russell Westbrook's $40 million, you've got to ship out $40 million. Well, the Thunder would love Justice Winslow. They would absolutely love Tyler Hero. They probably have some interest in Bam Adebayo. But for Miami to make it work, they've got to include Goran Dragic in the deal. And so the Thunder probably don't have real interest in Goran Dragic, certainly not his contract, although it is an expiring deal. They probably have to find a third team. That's probably Dallas. 3-team contracts or 3-team trades are really hard to do. I know that some have gotten done. Another option is Chicago. He could go to the Bulls. That makes sense. Would he want to go to the Bulls? I don't know. Detroit could make it work, but does Russell want to go to Detroit? I don't know. And the Thunder probably don't want to. They don't want this Russell Westbrook era to end with any acrimony. They probably want this to end the right way. And so it could happen today. They could wait till December. On December the 15th, guys that signed as free agents can be traded. So maybe the Knicks look up in December and say, okay, we want to do this. Maybe Milwaukee looks up in December and says, we need another star. Milwaukee's the interesting team because they're a year or two removed from having to deal with Giannis. Does Giannis walk into the front office and say, hey, we need to go get Russell Westbrook? Because if he does, they say, okay, well, let's make a call. And they'll pay the tax. Because if you're Milwaukee, now's the time to pay the tax. Pay the tax now. You're a competitor. You're a contender. And you're trying to make Giannis happy. And so the Thunder would love probably to sit back. There's no rush. They'd love to sit back and let the market play it out. Play 2 or 3 teams against each other. But they'd love to make a deal. There's no doubt they don't want to start this season with Russell Westbrook. They're ready to turn the page. They think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's a star waiting to happen. The Clippers certainly thought that. It's interesting. What's Russell Westbrook? I've loved the character assassination that happens with him. I don't get it, honestly. He's still averaging a triple-double, even on a year where he didn't shoot well. Still averaging a triple-double. Still a really good player. An impactful player. Before Paul George got hurt last year, the Thunder were emerging as an elite team. So would he make Giannis better? I think so. Would he and Jimmy Butler be exciting together every day? Absolutely. So there's places he could go. But Miami's other problem is they don't have any picks to trade because they've traded all their picks already. So I think it gets done. I still think it's Miami. I think Miami involves a third team. Third team's probably Dallas, and it gets done. But it could get complicated quickly. And the Thunder have no reason to panic trade him because they're almost under the cap now with the Grant deal. They could trade Patrick Patterson to somebody, Dennis Schroeder to somebody, and they get under the cap. And then they can relax. They can wait and see what happens. But I think Russell wants to get traded. He wants to move on, and they'll try to accommodate him.
I don't care. Do with it what you will, but is Golden State just going to retire every number from this entire roster as they win a couple championships or a few championships?
Well, they're desperately trying to keep everyone happy. They need Iguodala to shut up. They need Durant to play nice because it's becoming obvious that they played hurt players.
Yeah.
That their medical people didn't do a good job.
Right. Just curious. We will have more for you as the week moves on. Probably some stuff on rebelgrove.com too. Again, just kind of slow right now. But it's all right. We'll cover whatever is there. Neil will have a mailbag as well, and I'll have some other stuff too. So come back with us. We'll have another podcast tomorrow, and we will talk to you then.